Hello and welcome to the Daily Fantasy 5 for this Wednesday, July 24th. This is episode 154. I'm your host, Scott Grierson, and yes, I do look fancy today. I am not wearing my regular t-shirt. I have on a shirt with a collar on it. Yes, it's still short-sleeved, but this is as fancy as I get. I had some job training to do today, so we're in a fancy shirt today. Look out. For me, this is as fancy as it gets, people. All right, so we're bringing you the 5 things you need to know every day in the world of fantasy sports. Today, we got a baseball story. Gary Sanchez, catcher for the New York Yankees, he's got a groin injury. Oh no, he's headed to the injured list. We also have some Packers news, and New England has signed another Patriot. I'm excited about Lance Kendricks again, and we're going to be covering quarterback tiers for fantasy football this upcoming season. We'll get to all that after a word from our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, where you can pick up an online math course for as little as $9.99 to help your kids obviously do better in math, get better grades, score higher on exams, and even get into college. Check out www.mathradio.com to pick up any of these math courses or a writing course where you can learn how to write a persuasive essay. Go to mathradio.com today. All right, everybody, let's get to it. We'll start with Major League Baseball and New York Yankees all-star catcher Gary Sanchez. He is headed to the injured list, as I mentioned, with a groin strain. On the year, he's batting .229, which isn't great, but he does have 24 home runs. He's leading the team with 58 RBIs on the season. So those power numbers are going to be a little bit difficult to replace. Moving away from baseball, let's head to the Packers. They have released defensive tackle Daniels. He was a Pro Bowl alternative in 2017. A good player in the middle of the defense, but with all of the guys they brought in on defense, he was expendable. I think he was going to make $8 million this year, and he had a roster bonus coming up of about $3 million, so they let him go. So what kind of fantasy implications does this have? Well, I'm doubtful that many people are going to be at least drafting the Packers defense this year. I think this defense has a chance to be a lot better than last year. They've spent a lot of money, especially at the linebacker position and a little bit on the defensive line as well. They went cornerback heavy in last year's draft. I think their first-round pick has gone defense the last 3 years. So I think the Packers have a chance to be better on defense. But I think they're more likely going to be a streaming option than a team you're going out there and looking to draft on draft day. And this move, I don't think it hurts them that much. I do think it will help out opposing teams' running backs, as it should be easier to run on the Green Bay Packers. Now, the question always is, if Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers is scoring a lot of points, is the other team going to have a chance to run the ball? Well, that's going to be the question. I think running the ball will help teams stay in the game against the Packers this year. So that should be something you just file away for daily fantasy football. Okay. The other big story that just came out right before I kind of really released the show here today, Lance Kendricks has signed with the New England Patriots. Oh, man, I can stop talking about what's his name, Lacrosse or LaCroix, Matt LaCroix. I was reaching, grasping for a tight end out of New England. Lance Kendricks might be a top 5 tight end at this point. I got to redo my rankings right after I get out the show here. But, boy, I've been a sucker for Lance Kendricks for years. When he was in Green Bay, I thought he was going to be the guy back in his, St. Louis days. Oop, there's my wife. I thought he was definitely going to be the man, and it proves out that he was not at all. But he's had a decent career. Let me give you these numbers. As I'm sure a lot of you think Lance Kendricks is just a complete bust. Well, he's not. In his career, he's had over 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, and he is healthy right now. This is good news for New England Patriots and for fantasy owners, because we have a new tight end that we can go out there and draft, and I love it. Give me some Lance Kendricks. Yes. All right. And I'm serious. I like Lance Kendricks. I'm not sure how high he's going to be, but we'll talk about it on tomorrow's show. Okay. Let's keep it going now with our fancy shirt and everything. We're going to talk quarterback tiers, where you should be drafting quarterbacks this year. Okay, let's start at the top. He's in a tier all by himself. His name is Patrick Mahomes. He's awesome. We all know that. His ADP on ESPN is 20. Oh my gosh, that is way too high this year. As you will find out, as there's like 8 million draftable quarterbacks. So I would not draft Mahomes until the 6th round. He's never, ever gotten to me at the 6th round. I've once drafted him at the 5th round. I think in a best ball league, he once got to me in the 5th, or he got to the 6th round, but I wasn't the one who drafted him. So I don't think I own any Patrick Mahomes in any league. But anyway, yeah, I'm not drafting Mahomes until the 6th round, even though I have him as my number 1 fantasy quarterback. Round number 2, tier 2, is also one player, and that's Deshaun Watson. People love him this year. They think he's awesome. I think he's overrated. I wouldn't draft him until the 7th round. He's going as quarterback number 43 in ADP. Way too soon. That means he's going in the 5th round, 4th round in a 12-team standard league. Yeah, I'm not taking him until the 7th. If he falls to me, great. Too much injury risk for me. Okay, so here's the third tier where I might be willing to draft somebody. This tier 3 has 3 guys in it, and I would draft any of them if they drop to the 8th round. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers, who is my QB number 2. Andrew Luck, who is going number 58 overall at ADP, and Matt Ryan, who's going 63rd overall. Okay, if any of these guys fall, and they do fall because somebody's usually crazy for Mahomes and somebody's usually crazy for Watson, but then after you get rid of those 2 oddballs, the rest of your league is like, all right, I can wait on quarterback. And then you go ahead and you zig when everybody else is zagging, right? If one of these guys falls to you in the 8th round, I'm happy to draft Rodgers in the 8th round, okay? I've already gotten 4 running backs and 3 wide receivers at this point, or vice versa. I'm happy with Rodgers or Luck or Ryan, a premier quarterback at that spot at number 8, because it's not a premier pick anymore. So that's where I have my tier 3. Now, tier 4 is the bread and butter. This is where I'm really drafting all the time to get my quarterback. So tier 4 consists of Baker Mayfield at number 70 ADP, Drew Brees 79. I'll talk about him in a moment. Cam Newton at 85, Carson Wentz at 96, Russell Wilson 109, Kyler Murray 115, Ben Roethlisberger 111. I think all of these guys can be top 5 quarterbacks with the exception of one, and that is Drew Brees. Okay, so here's why is Brees in this category. Well, I think he can be a top 5 quarterback when he plays at home. Okay, I think Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in football when he's playing at home. So what you have to do is start Brees during the home games and then pair him with another quarterback. Okay, so in this method, you're going to have roster 2 quarterbacks. So that hurts, but the big thing is you're going to guarantee yourself almost a top 5 quarterback, and you get to draft him all the way in the 10th round. So I really like that upside with Brees and pairing him with one late round pick. And you're going to see there's a bunch of guys you can get later on. So right now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys. So if you're in a 12-team standard league, this is your entire starting lineup for your league. Now, in a typical 12-team league, you're going to see 18 to 20 quarterbacks get drafted. Some guys will only draft 1, some will draft 2, and some people who are crazy will draft 3 or 4 if you're like Bill Simmons. I think he drafted like 4 or 5 quarterbacks one year. He was trying to corner the market on quarterbacks and then trade them. And by the way, that doesn't work. Ask him. Okay, so I talked about Drew Brees. Baker Mayfield easily could be top 5. Cam Newton could be top 5. Carson Wentz. I have my doubts because I don't think he's going to run as much this year because of the injury issues, but he could be top 5. Russell Wilson might be somewhere where you're saying, well, I get that he's safe, but he doesn't have the volume to be top 5. Well, the reason I think Russell Wilson could be top 5 this year is one man, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf could come in and be like a Randy Moss type player for Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson can throw a deep ball. And with a run heavy offense, if you get him working in the pass, in the play action, he could get double-digit touchdowns as a rookie. And then you pair him with Tyler Lockett and who's their other wide receiver? Moore. That's all of a sudden a very, very interesting wide receiver trio. And that Seattle offense might be a lot more dynamic than we think if DK Metcalf is a star right away. And I know he went in the 2nd round, but they were solid, good draft people who thought DK Metcalf could go in the top 10 in the 1st round of last year's draft. So this guy definitely has talent, especially on the deep ball. He could be a very good weapon for Russell Wilson. Kyler Murray, I've got him in this group. I don't own him in any league. Somebody takes him way early. He's going 115 in ESPN, going much higher than that in best ball and some other formats. But he's not my guy. But he certainly could be amazing, have 1,000 rushing yards and some good passing numbers. But I doubt it. The guy I end up with like almost every team I draft is Ben Roethlisberger. I know he doesn't have Le'Veon Bell. I know he doesn't have Antonio Brown, but he still managed to finish 2nd in fantasy football last year among quarterbacks. So why is he being drafted as the 11th fantasy quarterback this year? No. I'm happy to take Big Ben as my number 10 pick after I already have, 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, or 4 and 4 and a tight end, whatever. Give me Ben Roethlisberger. I'm very happy, and then I'll stream on my bye week. No problems asked there. I'm going to have to redo my rankings because Ben keeps moving up and up and up and up and up the closer we get to draft day. Okay, so that's tier number 4. Tier number 5 is huge. And it has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players I like and 3 players I don't like. Let's start with the guys I don't like. I don't like Brady at 113. No. Brady is not a fantasy player anymore. He just doesn't put up numbers. Dak Prescott, nah, I don't buy him, never have. Lamar Jackson, I think, is steady. I don't think he's ever going to win you a week, so I don't want him to be my quarterback. I know he's got a low floor because he has that rushing ability, but I think if he takes too many hits, he's going to get rocked and be knocked out and be injured. So that kind of lowers the floor that I think a lot of people have way too high. So those are the three guys I'm not drafting. Brady at 113, Prescott at 114, Lamar Jackson 155. Okay, the guys I like in this fifth tier, these are all guys I would draft in the 11th round or later, and these are all outside the top 12 quarterbacks being drafted, okay? This is why you can wait on quarterback, and you should not be drafting Patrick Mahomes or anybody in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Okay, we got Jared Goff as pick 120. He certainly has the upside to be a top 5 quarterback. He did it for most of the season last year. Phillip Rivers. Now, Rivers is totally safe. People are poo-pooing on Rivers, but listen to this. In his first 15 weeks, and you know this stat if you've been here long enough, in Rivers' first 15 weeks last season, he scored at least 15 points in every single one of those games. Now, on the flip side, he never scored more than 30, so that's a little bit of a problem. But if you want to pair Rivers with Jimmy Garoppolo or Josh Allen, right, somebody with a super high upside, it makes a lot of sense. Who else do we have? We have Trubisky at 150. Trubisky was awesome at times last year. Jameis Winston. Now, Winston's not the best quarterback, but per game, right, on a per game basis, I think he finished 6th last year. Okay. There's no Ryan Fitzpatrick to slow him down this year. So Winston should get every single start this year. Kirk Cousins being drafted at 163, quarterback, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Quarterback 20, Kirk Cousins, he's better than that. So he has Diggs and Thielen and Cook out of the backfield to throw to, an improved offensive line. This guy should be cooking this year. I like Kirk Cousins a lot this year, especially that late. Jimmy Garoppolo, this guy's going to be a steal. You know I have him, top 6, top 7, something like that on my list. He is going to be awesome this year. San Francisco is set up and ready to go for Jimmy G if he can only stay healthy. Now, with Jimmy G, I'm definitely going to pair him with someone like Rivers or one of these other late-round guys, maybe even a Jameis Winston, Cousins, or Goff. I certainly don't mind having Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll take them in the 11th and 12th rounds back to back, and that's my quarterback for the year. That's totally fine with me. Well, I kind of remember. No, they don't have the same way. Never mind. And then I have Josh Allen at 167. Josh Allen can run the ball. He can pass the ball. I think he's just a little bit better than Lamar Jackson, so that's why I have him here. Maybe not better, but less injury prone, as I think he's more solidly built. Okay, so those are my quarterback tiers. I have 5 tiers. The rest of the guys can go to hell. I'm not drafting Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford. Who else is in that list? Andy Dalton. Although I kind of like Andy Dalton. In the first 5 games last year, he was amazing. So when Andy Dalton's receivers and everybody's healthy, Andy Dalton's not bad. So, I'm not saying go out there and draft Andy Dalton. That's not what I'm saying. But in weekly leagues, where Dalton's going to be outside of the top 20 in terms of quarterbacks, go ahead and start him. He has 3 good matchups. We went through this a couple weeks ago. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But he has 3 really solid matchups at the beginning of the season. Just check it out. You'll know it when it comes, where he's certainly playable in weekly formats. So Andy Dalton, another guy. And then I love Fitzpatrick. You all know I had him way crazy high on my list until they made that trade during the draft for Rosen. If I knew Fitzpatrick was starting and was going to play the whole season for the Miami Dolphins, I would definitely have him as a top 15 quarterback simply because that defense is going to be awful, and he puts up fantasy stats. Whether it's garbage time or the first quarter, they all count the same. I would have Fitzpatrick up there. So if there is an injury to Rosen, I'm going to be the first one that picks up Fitzpatrick. So, yeah, now I'm really done with the Daily Fantasy 5 today. So, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please check out our sponsor, www.mathradio.com. There you can pick up an online math course for your child, ages 7 through 17, for as little as $9.99. That's less than $10. It's certainly half the cost of a good pizza. So go out there and pick that up. Please visit us over at YouTube. If you are watching right now, hit that red subscribe button and tell a friend. If you're listening to the show on a podcast, hey, give us a rating and a review. We would greatly appreciate it. Tell a friend, your cousin, and your dog. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.